Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. I am your host, Daniel Atai. Welcome to Spectacle program on Television Nigerian. Today, of course, we'll be discussing about the Tribunal judgment in Benue State. Ortom wins from Tribunal in Benue State yesterday. Yesterday, we discussed a lot of trends about incumbent victories across the country. And we've had one from faraway Benue State. We'll be looking into that. And it will be opened for audience participation. So the numbers are there on your screen, and we'll try as much as possible to reach the opposition party candidate or his media aide. We're talking about Barrister Emmanuel Jime, or his deputy, Dr. Samode, MNI. And we'll do as much to reach the PDP candidate. What do they feel about this particular judgment from the tribunal? We'll also try as much as possible to reach the governor's aide to talk to us on Spectacle today, what they feel about the tribunal and whether the opposition, the APC in the state, will be heading to the appeal court or not. Stay tuned. I am your host, Daniel Atai. Shortly, I'll be with you. Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. I am your host, Daniel Atai. Welcome back. With me in the studio to look into this particular verdict and the declaration of the governor of Benue State, Samuel Ortom, is Barrister Silvanus Ope Esquire, the president, the spokesperson of the Patriotic Nigerian Youth Against Corruption and Injustices. You are welcome to Spectacle.
Thank you.
And of course, like I said, the numbers to reach us with are displayed on your screen already. And for the sake of the vision impaired ones, you can dial +234 81 3701 5949 or +234 705 432 7616. Mr. Silvanus, yesterday we discussed about incumbent victories across the country. And we've had another one from Benue State in the person of Governor Samuel Ortom. Samuel Ortom was initially declared winner in the gubernatorial election, I think March, and a rerun was declared, and again he won from the rerun, and it landed them, the opposition, in the tribunal. And the tribunal have just declared him winner again yesterday. What is your take about this incumbent? What is all about incumbency?
Well, it is good. We commend the APC, the PDP in their respective states where they lost the election for taking advantage of our laws, of our jurisprudential processes to ventilate their anger. Okay. We thank them for being democratic enough to file petitions before tribunals, challenging the victory of whoever won the election in the states. But a number of issues must be looked into if we will dissect this very ugly trend of incumbents retaining their position even when the elections were fraught with irregularities.
Okay.
Let me first.
Okay, I will call you back. Like we said, we will be picking calls concurrently so that people will react from the state. I think we have our first caller, and please don't be angry. We'll get back to you.
Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon. We are live. You are live on a spectacle program on television Nigerian, and we are discussing Ortom's victory yesterday from the tribunal.
Okay. My name is Arnold Obande.
Okay. Let's have your take.
Hello?
Let's have your take on the tribunal verdict. Ortom wins again. Is it a congratulation or what?
What happened yesterday was not a winning at all.
I bet he won. The tribunal have declared him the winner of the election.
Hello?
Yes, I'm hearing you. I said the tribunal have declared him the winner of the election. So what are you saying?
The tribunal did. We saw that coming. What happened, what played out in court yesterday wasn't a surprise to us at all.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, why is it not a surprise?
It is not a surprise because we heard everything that happened, how monies exchanged hands.
You said it's Arnold.
Yes, hello?
I'm hearing you. We're hearing you. You are live.
Here in Benue State, judgment has been for sale, starting from the state assembly election tribunal.
Mr. Arnold.
Yes.
You are live on air, and your assertions are at your discretion. Okay.
Yes.
Now, what we are looking into is Ortom wins at tribunal. What is your take on it?
Ortom wins at tribunal. Listen.
Yeah.
The petitioner, Right Honorable Emmanuel Jime,
Yeah.
in court the tribunal said the petitioner was unable to prove that there were irregularity and non-compliance with the Electoral Act and rules and guidelines for the 2019 general election, which is not true at all. As a matter of fact, the petitioner called witnesses, 59 witnesses out of 200 witnesses. The petitioner called 59 witnesses who were all cross-examined.
You are talking about PW1 to 50 what?
PW1 to PW59.
That is petitioner's witness.
Plaintiff witness.
Plaintiff witness.
Yes.
You are calling from where right now, please?
I'm calling from Benue State, Makurdi to be precise.
Okay.
Now, how can you say, in a case where you have smart card data from smart card reader, data from voter register, 35 copies of documents from INEC showing clearly, and these documents were tendered through witnesses, and the petitioner was able to prove through the witnesses that were cross-examined, as well as through the documents that were tendered, beyond reasonable doubt that there was non-compliance to
Anyway,
Hello?
Arnold.
Yes.
Others are on the line, and we're analyzing these in the studio. The tribunal chairman declared yesterday that those documents are irrelevant documents, and it has no justifiable evidence.
How can you say voter card register, data from smart card reader, and electoral result sheets are irrelevant to a petition? The guideline and regulation for the 2019 general election made accreditation.
All right, maybe you have to call us back. We'll try in as much as possible to reach the APC organizing a press secretary to tell us with authority if they are heading to this appeal court or.
Of course, we are heading to the appeal court after the judgment yesterday.
Are you speaking as
the president outside, and he made it very clear that he thank God that. Hello, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. You are speaking as an authority that the APC candidate. Okay, you are quoting the deputy governor, Dr. Samuel Dr. Sam Ode.
Dr. Sam Ode, MNI.
Okay.
He said to pressmen outside the courtroom yesterday, immediately after that judgment, that he thanked God that the chairman of the tribunal said there are two layers to the struggle, and that he and his principal, Honorable Emmanuel Jimmy, are going to challenge the efficacy of the ruling.
All right.
And Supreme Court.
All right. Thank you very much. That's a wonderful take from you, Arnold Obande, calling from Benue, and we've documented your take. We'll try as much as to reach the governor's side. You heard him. He said they are heading to the deputy governor candidate Samode, on behalf of his principal, said that the tribunal chairman made it clear that there are so many layers to this very verdict, and they will be heading to the appeal court.
Yes, you know, the appeal court is there when you're dissatisfied with the judgment of the tribunal. What you do as a Democrat, as somebody who abides by the rules of engagement, the rule of law, is to appeal. But one of the reasons why we will continue to witness failures in ousting incumbents from power through the tribunal is because, you know, in law there are technicalities. Okay. Even the greatest lawyer will fall prey, might not do his homework very well.
Okay.
Taking into consideration that election matters are mainly forensic issues.
I think
that needs forensic analysis, yes, to gather much evidence that is the court will that will persuade the court, persuasive evidence.
All right.
That
we have the press secretary of the APC on the line right now, in the person of James Oguga. Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon. You are live on Spectacle TVN.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Are you watching us from where?
From Makurdi, Benue State.
Okay, we are discussing the topic. Ortom wins at Tribunal. Is the APC heading to appeal court?
Surely, what transpired at the Tribunal is not a direct interpretation of what really happened at the post. Okay, so we are headed for the Tribunal already.
Okay, for
we are going to interrogate that victory to ensure that the right thing is done.
Okay.
Do you think there are different approach the lawyers of the petitioners will take in persuading the justices of the appeal court to differ from the decision of the trial court?
Exactly. That is what we are looking at. You remember that even at the start of the case, there were a lot of applications and motions that the tribunal had tried to suppress, but we were able to find to get judgment in our favor at the appeal court. So we still believe that the appeal court will interpret this judgment differently, and we will have favor from it.
Are you aware that the appeal will take up to 3 months to look at the technicalities involved from the tribunal judgment at the first sitting?
We're looking at a duration of about 2 months for the appeal to look at it.
But you don't think that since almost all the points of law raised by the lawyers of the petitioners were dismissed for lacking merits, that the appeal court might follow suit?
I don't think so. It's what the tribunal sees as being lacking in merit may be seen differently by the appeal court. So we still have confidence that the appeal court will give a different verdict from what we had at the tribunal yesterday.
All right. Do you think that the preparation and the momentum of the APC towards this tribunal case was enough?
We proved our case beyond reasonable doubt, and the PDP, on the other hand, had no defense at all than to align with what we presented. But if you look at the judgment, for those of us who were there physically present, you will understand that the tribunal was more interested in defending the respondent than treating the case of the petitioner. So the judgment seemed totally compromised if you listen to it where it was passed. So we still have confidence that the appellate court will give a different verdict to that.
Okay. And what is the party you are speaking on behalf of the APC, isn't it?
Yes.
And your party chairman, Comrade Abayaro, what is his take on this? Can you speak on his behalf?
I am speaking the mind of the party that we're going to appeal this judgment. It does not represent the truth of this matter. So we're going to seek for that merit that the tribunal could not find. We are confident that that merit will be found at the appeal and even up to the Supreme Court. The fortunate thing is that this is a case that has up to 3 layers to be tested. So we are going to test the validity of this judgment at the appeal court and even move up to the Supreme Court because we know we have a valid case.
Okay, for now, is it congratulations to Governor Ortom from you?
No, we can't congratulate him for sitting on a stolen mandate until the Supreme Court truly certifies that he won the election. As long as that is not done, Benue APC cannot congratulate Governor Samuel Ortom. We still see him as sitting on a stolen mandate.
Okay. And the election is by the corner in Benue State. What do you have to say about that? Is the APC ready for the election, the local government polls?
We are still weighing our options because we do not have confidence in the Benue State Independent Electoral Commission. One, the commission doesn't have the independence. In fact, we feel that the independence is removed from that name because they lack that. Why am I saying this? Before BSEC came out to announce the date for this election, the governor had gone ahead to usurp the power of the commission to declare the date he intends to conduct the election. It is not in the power of the state governor to tell us when he will conduct local government elections. It is the duty of BSEC. What he needed to have done was to mobilize BSEC to go ahead and do that. But he went ahead, fixed the date, and only brought in BSEC to fall in line with what he is doing. So if you check very well, there are glaring indications that this election will not be free and fair. But we are still consulting with stakeholders of the party. For now, we have not arrived at a concrete decision. At the level of the State Executive Committee, the people had agreed that, well, let's go ahead and participate, even if we don't win, fine. But we still have one layer. We want to hold our state caucus meeting to determine whether we will participate in the election or not, because we are very sure that the election has been compromised.
All right. It means if you do not participate in the election, are you heading to court for interpretation of what the governor have just done?
Well, it depends. For now, we are more concerned about the gubernatorial election that we were rigged out deliberately, and the tribunal has again connived to give the governor victory. We are more committed to pursuing this matter, and the local government election, we might decide to boycott the entire process. And if we boycott, it means we are not taking anybody to court. Whatever happens, let it be. But we're still looking at it. If you look at it, already the state government, the Benue State House of Assembly, which is just an appendage of Benue State Government House as it is now, because the speaker is entirely answerable to the governor to a point that he undermines his own function as leader of the legislature in the state. One, they have altered the timetable for the time frame for conduct of local government elections. It used to be 3 months.
Mr. James Ongoga.
Yes.
I think we'll leave that to the judiciary to interpret whether.
And that is what I'm saying, that even at that there is a lapse that we can explore. Legally, we can explore that too, because they have adjusted the timetable to 2 months rather than the 3 months, which conforms with the Electoral Act. So we are still looking at it, but honestly, we are not too passionate about the local government elections for now.
All right. Thank you for your take on this issue. Time is not our friend, and others are queuing to join us. We're expecting a call from the governor's chief press secretary, Mr. Teve Akase, probably to give us his take on this tribunal verdict from the angle of the PDP. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You have heard the press secretary of the APC Benue State and his take that they will be heading to the court, the appeal court, and they as well may jettison the proposed local government polls slated for 30th of November in 2019. This issue is what you
I
make
think
of it?
from what the public secretary of the party in Benue said, they are not sure of victory at the appeal court.
They are not sure.
Because what he said is that
seems they are not ready as well.
That they are prepared to go to the Supreme Court. We are going into an appeal in the Court of Appeal. You have not even started the appeal process. You are now saying you want to you even go up to the extent.
No, I think he said they will go to any extent, even if their appeal did not.
Okay, if that is what it means.
Judgment. And what is your pick? Should they relax and allow the governor to continue?
They should explore all the channels established by the law in recovering the mandate, if they believe truly and they have evidence to back it up that the mandate was indeed stolen. But one of the reasons why it will be very difficult is because of the time the Constitution gives, the limitation period. Because if you are dissatisfied with the outcome of an election in Nigeria, especially federal elections, you must file a petition before the tribunal within 40 days.
Okay.
And we are talking of very sensitive issues like the card readers, the ballot papers, which needs forensic experts to analyze the data so that it will become a persuasive evidence before the tribunal. So we know that in the tribunal, they don't give verdict on a number of witnesses. I presented 500 witnesses. They don't. What they check is the probative value of the evidence produced, coupled with the candor and demeanor of the lawyer presenting the evidence.
Okay.
That is one reason why the incumbents are retaining power. There is no enough time for these lawyers and these experts to gather enough evidence that will unseat the incumbents. Secondly, our judiciary is not independent enough to make bold decisions. What I mean by bold decisions that will be made with recourse to res judicata, which means that justice must be done no matter whose horse is God. We have not reached that extent as a nation. We will still have a nascent democracy coupled with a highly dependent judiciary. A judiciary that is financially dependent on the executive. The appointment is by the executive. In fact, we saw how the Chief Justice of Nigeria, who is the head of the judiciary, was unilaterally dismissed by the president without recourse to the National Assembly. So this will make the members of the bench jittery of taking bold decisions that affects the incumbent. Then thirdly, we in the courts, it's difficult to prove these cases within the number of days. We have 180 days for every case in the tribunal to be adjudicated upon. And this number of days might not be enough for the petitioners to bring up their cases in a way that the judge will be convinced.
Okay.
You understand? So these are the issues, some of the reasons why we see the incumbents coming back. But when we have a president that has the political will to change things, to turn things around, like when Yar'Adua came in 2007, he admitted himself that the election that brought him to power was fraught with irregularities. He did not just admit, he took pragmatic steps to correct that in the future. The first thing he did was to inaugurate the Justice Muhammad Wise Committee on Electoral Reform. And I'm very surprised that subsequent leaders, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan and now President Muhammad Buhari, have not done anything to implement the resolution submitted by that Muhammad Wise-led electoral reform. Secondly, because
we have the CPS on the line to the governor of Benue State, Mr. Tevi Akasi. Good afternoon, sir. Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Tevi. We lost him there, and he could do well to call us back if he can.
So as I was saying,
yes. Do you think, are you saying that that electoral reform should be, submitted and looked into?
It has been submitted, but it has been that is what that's one of the problems of this country. We lack continuity in governance. Okay. When I come to power, I try as much as possible to kill your ideas and bring there is no continuity. That is one of the problems. That reform has been allowed to waste. And again, we see under Yar'Adua, some governors of the PDP, about 7 of them, we are removed from power because they had the political will to allow the judiciary to do things within their own discretion. There was no dictation. Even when P2B was installed in 2007 against PDP's Dr. Chris Uba, he allowed that. We saw in those states when Oshomole was returned. So these things has not happened after the demise, unfortunate demise of Yar'Adua. And also, the last bill submitted to President Muhammad Buhari by the Saraki-led 80th Senate would have done justice to most of these our electoral epileptic election in Nigeria, not epileptic, imperfect electoral process.
You said we are nascing and we are growing.
We are growing, but we ought to have passed this stage. That bill has a lot in it that will prep our election for perfection. But the Buhari-led presidency, as you will recognize,
is there anything in the bill, in that reform, that incumbents should not contest election? They should, step aside if they are aspiring for any political office?
It's 4 years. The constitution is clear in section 135 or so. You have 4 years.
Yes.
And that's your 4 years. You'll be in power when election. There should not be vacuum in power.
Okay.
24 hours vacuum is not allowed.
Oh, okay. And do you think that this incumbency is not a factor for winning?
If we reform our electoral process, it will not be a factor. But with this election this one with this electoral malfeasance, the electoral process is fraught with irregularities, totgery, atmosphere that is not conducive for voters.
But I think that is the essence of the tribunal.
In many countries in the world, you don't even go to queue. You stay in your house with your cell phone. You electronically vote. And most of now, card reader is not even recognized by our laws. How will you prove it in court? The court will tell you that it doesn't recognize card readers. And it's a big problem because the Supreme Court has set the precedent that card reader is not recognized. That was why Saraki spearheaded the drafting of the bill that the Constitution, the Electoral Act, will recognize the card readers. And the bill was turned down by the President Muhammad Buhari-led administration.
All right. We'll try to connect to the Chief Press Secretary of the Governor. I think he's on the line calling now. Hello, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. You are live on air on Television Nigeria, and this is a spectacle program. We are discussing the victory of the governor of Benue State, Samuel Ortom, yesterday.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is Tevi Akase from Benue. You are calling from Benue, I guess?
Yes.
Okay, what is your take on this particular verdict to balance the issue?
Which issues are we balancing?
The verdict, how do you feel right now? Is it okay? The APC is heading to the appeal court. What is your take?
I have nothing more to say than what we said yesterday through our statement. The judgment of the Tribunal, Governorship Tribunal in Benue State, has confirmed the unanimous victory that Benue people gave to their son Samuel Ortom earlier this year to govern them for another 4 years. It also goes to show that the judiciary has done what is right in the eyes of the world. That Governor Samuel Ortom won the election 2 times. And when I say 2 times, I mean that in the first ballot, he won, gave a gap, an unassailable gap. INEC said the election was inconclusive. We accepted it and went for the second ballot. Went for supplementary election, which the governor extended the lead over his closest challenger, the candidate of the APC in the 2019 election. So what happened yesterday was confirmation of that decision of Benue voters who said this is the man they prefer, Governor Samuel Ortom is the man they want, and not any other person for now, until 2023. So but the governor has already extended a hand of fellowship to his challenger in the 2019 elections to join him in developing Benue State. And he said this victory is for all Benue people. It is not only for the PDP, it is not only for those who are in government, it is not even only for those who voted for him. It is victory for even those who did not vote at all in the election. It is victory for those who voted for him, victory for those who did not vote for him. So every Benue person, and even those who are not Benue indigenous but are residing in Benue, of course they also voted. This victory is theirs, and the governor is saying every one of our people come together. Let us develop Benue State. Benue is ours to develop. Benue does not belong to only one person. Benue does not only belong to Samuel Ortom or Bent Nabono. It belongs to all of us. This is the message we are passing across, and we are saying there is no victor, no vanquished. Everybody is a winner. Even Emmanuel Jime is a winner through Samuel Ortom, because only one person will be there. So if it could have been Emmanuel Jime, it could have been the pastor for PRP, it could have been any other person. But God said this through Benue people that this time it is Samuel Ortom who should be there. So we are saying that look, the governor is saying I am governor because somebody has to be here. It is now time for me to be here. But that doesn't mean that all of you are left out. Every one of you come together. Let's work together to develop Benue State.
All right.
That is the message that you are passing across.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Tevi Akase. And you are certain that the hands of fellowship will truly be extended, assuming the APC consented to this offer.
When you give a hand of fellowship to a brother, it is left for that person to accept or decline it. We have extended a hand of fellowship, and it is left for the people we have extended the hand of fellowship to. Not only Emmanuel Jime, we have extended. Remember that there were many contestants for the governorship in 2019. So we are extending the hand of fellowship to all the contestants. Say, look, and with their deputies, their running mates, come together. Let's work together. So any one of them who embraces, who accepts this kind of fellowship, we are willing. The government is ready. Samuel Ortom, the governor, is ready to work with anybody who comes on board and says, look, this is Benue, this is our Benue, this is our state. Okay. It is ours to build and not to destroy.
All right. Mr. Tebe, what happens if the judgment from the tribunal yesterday is overturned at the appeal court, what will happen? Will the governor take it?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that correctly.
I said, what would happen if the judgment of tribunal yesterday is upturned at the appeal court?
It will not be obtained, and you know why?
Why?
The tribunal was detailed. The tribunal went from the beginning of the arguments to the very last, to a point that the lawyers on both sides were pleading with the judge, with the presiding judge, the chairman of the tribunal, to keep certain aspects and go to the main judgment. So this was a job that was thoroughly done by the panel the tribunal. Members of that tribunal displayed what is called true professionalism in justice, in the temple of justice. So it will be,
when you take a selfie, when you take a pose, you the ginger the boy. Every time you bend the low, come on girl, when you take a selfie, when you take a pose, you the ginger the boy. Every time you bend the low.
Want to shoot a dope music video at 50% discount?
50% discount?
Yeah.
It's not that if you were there, you would have listened to the judge. They said, they read all what happened in the cross-examination of the 59 witnesses of HC. And none of them was deemed to have presented evidence enough to cancel even one polling unit. So if you have 59 witnesses and none of them is able to convince the tribunal that the election did not comply with the set down rules of election, would you just give judgment to such a person?
All right,
the onus of proof is on the person who alleges, the person who claims that something is wrong. If you say I'm a thief, it is up to you to go to court and prove that I'm a thief. I am not the one to go and say I'm not a thief.
All right.
You are the one to prove that I'm a thief.
All right, thank you.
If you fail to do that, then the court is not Father Christmas. The court does not give you what you do not deserve. The court gives you what you deserve.
All right, Mr. Teve, we thank you for that wonderful take. We're actually having a technical hiccup here in the studio, but your take is well taken. Thank you for calling from the angle of the governor and the PDP.
You're welcome.
Thank you. You've heard him. We have no time. We have run out of time, and we are sorry for that break in transmission. It was due to technical hitches in the studio. We'll round up here. What is your final take? You've heard the Chief Press Secretary of the governor saying that the election is victory for Benue people, and that they should join hands together, and that, of course, that anything, the judgment going to appeal court will not be upturned.
I think I will support the APC to appeal.
Okay.
It is good for the APC to appeal, as in our jurisprudence will be deepened and democracy will take its course. Let them appeal. If they are confident in the appeal process, in the fact that at the appeal they will throw in a better argument to convince the judges, bring more evidence, convince them that the...
All right. Thank you for that wonderful take, Mr. Silvanus Okpe. And thank you, audience, for listening. This is where we stop today on Spectacle program on Television Nigeria. And you can continue with us tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and God bless you. Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. I am your host, Daniel Atai.